Hey guys, Buffer Game Bad today, bringing you a video, and today we have a brand new trailer from Delta Force Hawk Ops showing off their Havoc Warfare mode here in a brand new YouTube trailer that you can see here in the background. Now, I've talked about this game quite a lot. I have a lot more videos coming for this to break down a lot of different gameplay and things like that, but this is the Havoc Warfare mode. This is their standard multiplayer mode. Now, there will be different experiences within this, whether it's like a standard conquest type and rush type modes. There should be different modes within this, but the description for the mode itself is for Havoc Warfare. The mode basically is select your operators and work together to seamlessly in massive scale battles spanning land, sea, and air. So there's class selection, which you can dive into 4 iconic classes, that being Assault, Sniper, Engineer, and Medic, each with unique roles to fulfill. So again, standard class system. Very similar to kind of what we saw with the original Delta Force. I know a lot of people are going to say they're copying Battlefield, but the original Delta Force games did this too, and those were around, I want to say the early 2000s was the first one, maybe even the late 90s, probably early 2000s, but I remember playing those with the online, and they had the standard type classes too. Now, obviously, I think they're fulfilling a kind of a role that Call of Duty and Battlefield didn't capture, or pushing it farther than those games did. Now, there's also vehicle warfare in this mode, so pilot assault ships, battle tanks, Black Hawk helicopters, attack helicopters, armored vehicles, heavy ATVs, and nearly 10 vehicles all are ready for deployment. And then immersive experience. So immersive experience is a big one for me personally, obviously, but experience the dynamic, so dynamic, obviously that's a big term we'll get back to, and realistic battlefield for the first-person perspective. Engage in all-out land, sea, and air combat and feel the adrenaline rush of two-way offense and defense. So again, there's going to be offense-defense type modes, whether it's conquest type stuff, as well as kind of attack and defend modes, probably something similar to like a rush mode. I forgot what kind of modes were in the original Delta Force, honestly, because it was so long ago. But obviously they're kind of really looking here at Battlefield and Call of Duty and some other games that they're pulling from that they've worked on before, and Tarkov, obviously, things like that. They're looking at pretty much the market that's out there and how can they enhance it and bring it to make it accessible for everybody. And the depth in this game is just amazing. So again, some big things there with the class selection. That's big. Vehicle warfare, having all the vehicles. We also see in this trailer, obviously, you see an Apache gunship, so you see someone's piloting the gunship as well as you have somebody on the gun. So that's good. Hopefully you can get into first person with those vehicles as well. Now, to the immersive experience. Obviously, immersive experience, that's a big one for me that I think Battlefield and Call of Duty both have kind of moved past, or at least forgotten. Those games used to have some level of immersion. I think throw realism aside, because realism and immersion are two different things, but Call of Duty and Battlefield used to be very, very immersive. And I think as of late, specifically with the past few Battlefields as well as Call of Duties, immersion has pretty much gone out the window after Battlefield 1, and I'd also say after Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, during the course of that game, immersion kind of went out the window. So that's a big one. Dynamic battlefield, so again, changing weather, things like that. There is going to be night modes, night maps in this game, at least for the hazard operations, which is the extraction mode. I know for a fact there will be night modes with nods, and realistic battlefield. So again, this is all good stuff we're hearing. With the trailer itself, we see a lot of features here, which I'll be making a lot more breakdowns here going into mainly the hazard operations, which is the extraction mode. But here you can see a lot of things. Obviously, you see kind of a variety of them showing off what this mode is. Again, I think they're really trying to capture the Battlefield audience with this specific trailer and a little bit of the Call of Duty audience. But the weapons themselves here are much more accurate to real life compared to Call of Duty. The Vector is one that I'm seeing here in the trailer, and I'm seeing a good amount of gameplay with it. They modeled it after the actual Vector. So the actual Chris Vector is the model they used here. They used real models for all these weapons for the most part, which different from Call of Duty, where Call of Duty with the Vector, for example, looks very, very different. So here they have the correct model for the Vector. That's a good one. You see a lot of different weapons here, like the spear, the MP5. You see the AUG A3. You see some different variations of sniper rifles that I'll get into. So I have done a video on all the weapons, and that was from the original playtest, all the weapons as of the original playtest. For the second playtest, which is happening, pretty much kicking off into beta right now, and they're doing playtests. They just did one in China last weekend. There's one in LA coming up. So for this playtest, as I've said in previous videos, they've added 16 new weapons. They've also added 60 new attachments into the game. So that will be reflected in these upcoming playtests, and you can see some of it here in the trailer, like the AUG, I think, is a new one. I know for a fact also the Ash 12 will be in the game, but you can see here some good M4 gameplay, Vector gameplay. You see a little bit of AUG A3. You see M9 Beretta, some Glocks. You see an M14 DMR. You see the M1 Abrams, kind of a semi-futuristic version of the Abrams. You see an AKM or an AK-103 in the game. You see the QBZ-95 as well, showing off a lot of things also, like sights with canted red dots, RMRs. You also see some Leopold hammers on the AUGs. You see, again, different M4s with LPVO optics. You can customize these weapons to as much as you want. You also, again, the Apache gunship with a 30mm gunner. You see boats, so there's a boat map here. It looks like you're almost in the trailer pushing like a D-Day type, modern type D-Day Normandy invasion. You can see flags, so there's some sort of capture the flag type mode, whether it's conquest or whatnot, but attackers, defenders, so some mix of conquest and rush it looks like here, which is really good to see. Again, C4, so obviously they're pretty much trying to capture, I think, what World War III tried to do and failed, unfortunately. But capture that battlefield audience mainly is what they're going for here. They also have their other mode, the Hazard Operations mode, which I have seen a lot of gameplay behind the scenes. I'll be doing some breakdowns of that coming up. That's essentially Escape from Tarkov, accessible on all platforms, including consoles. The weapon customization in this game is the most extensive customization I have ever seen, right up there next to Tarkov. Tarkov may be a little bit more granular as far as like different gas blocks and things like that, but this is essentially right up there with that. Now, I don't know if you can change out gas tubes, but you can do everything else you can do in Tarkov as far as customizing your weapon. You can do in this game. You can put on multiple lasers, any type of optic with canted mounted stuff, place rails where you want them, place attachments where you want them on the rail. If you want a PEC 15 on the left, right, top, or bottom pick rails, you can put that pick rail there on the M-Lock or the key mod. You can choose where you want those attachments, which rail you want them on, which side of the gun, how many you want. You can have 3 lasers on at once if you want. Customizations are endless with this. You can also customize your soldier. There's a lot of gear to customize your soldiers with, especially in the Hazard Operations mode. But again, Havoc Warfare here, this is going to be the standard multiplayer mode. Attackers, defenders type modes. They'll probably have TDM, things like that also. But again, the game looks great. This is the #1 game I am anticipating here in 2024. It will be free to play for all platforms, including mobile. And it's important to note that they did not build this for one particular platform and port it over. It was built independently for every platform. There will be crossplay, and it is a free-to-play title. So there's really no harm in checking it out. But again, a lot of the gameplay I have seen behind the scenes, this is much more in-depth, and the customization, the attention to detail blows Battlefield and Call of Duty out of the water handedly. So I think AAA titles should be honestly embarrassed, especially looking at something like Battlefield 2042 and even Call of Duty. I've seen more gameplay for this game than we saw for Battlefield 2042 up until, you know, until it finally launched. And I've seen more gameplay with this game than Call of Duty, than you ever see with Call of Duty leading up to launch also. They've been playtesting this extensively, having closed betas, closed alphas. This game is going through the ringer, and I think this is going to be one of the best games of the year, at least for my liking. If you're not into more immersive type shooters, this is still arcadey, don't get me wrong. You can slide, but there's lean mechanics, there's door kick mechanics, there's a lot of mechanics in this game, which we'll get into in some upcoming videos. But again, the weapons, the customization is just amazing. This is my #1 game of the year. Can't wait for this to release. This will be what I cover on the channel. This will be the mainstay of the channel going forward when it comes out. There's going to be a lot to do with this game, and I really am excited with this. You may have some people I know saying like that weapon animations look reused from other games, this and that, but I can tell you for a fact with the amount of gameplay that I have seen, this game has gone above and beyond anything AAA that I've seen, probably since the old Battlefield days, and they definitely are blowing Call of Duty out of the water. So they're doing a lot here. This is just the Havoc Warfare standard multiplayer mode. Like I said, you have an extraction mode, Hazard Operations, and you have the single player, which is the classic Black Hawk Down campaign. So that's from the original Delta Force remade. It's going to be a great game. I'm so excited for this. Hopefully I'll get out there for the playtest in Los Angeles here later this month. Let me know your thoughts down below. What you're excited about, what you're hesitant about, any questions down below. I've seen a ridiculous amount of gameplay at this point, so I can answer majority of questions. Let me know your thoughts. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming with Delta Force Hawk Ops Havoc Warfare. Till next time, Buffner Gaming, out.